So is your favorite film series Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
No, he hates it, dude.
No.
That is okay. So Cody's like.
So what did you think of Rings of Power then?
That's what I was about to.
Well, Rings of Power was shit, and I knew it'd be shit. It was funny how it played out because once we heard that they were making, when I first heard it, I'm like, cool, Second Age, right on. And then I heard that they didn't have the rights to the Silmarillion, so I don't know how the hell you were going to do it. And then I found out they had the rights to the appendices. Then we found out, and this is years ahead, that Bad Reboot, they're from Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams. I won't go down that. It's terrible, terrible organization. They suck. They screwed up Star Wars. They screwed up Star Trek. And now they're offshoots. People like who weren't even good enough to work there took over the Rings of Power. The guys who run the Rings of Power wrote half of a bad Star Trek script, Star Trek Beyond. You remember that movie? Yeah. I hated it.
That was the third one?
That was the third one. They doctored a bit of that script. So they were given... they were put in charge of the most expensive TV show of all time and to adapt the greatest story ever written. And we just started clowning it because once I heard that, I'm like, well, we've seen intersectional feminism in Star Trek and Star Wars and Marvel and just about everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if Galadriel was like all in armor and slaying orcs like she's cutting through butter. And sure as shit, that's what they did. Yeah. And it was a joke. And like
they watched your segment. You probably
yeah. Oh my God, it was terrible. I can't even get into like they had instances where she swam across the ocean. In the middle of the ocean, she just runs into Sauron on a raft. It's just it's the dumbest thing ever. If you don't understand the source material, it's hard to explain. But think The Last Jedi, but 1,000 times worse. That's what it was. And
you have good source. Like the Tolkien family was like, no, you can't fucking touch this.
Thank God.
There's certain stuff that they couldn't, like part of the Tolkien family sold them out, but they said you can only do the appendices. So it's like this much of the book at the end. It's like that much of the book they're adapting. And the worst part about it was like subverting everything Tolkien believed. Tolkien was a devout Catholic. This is a Christian work. I'm not even Christian, I'm saying this, but it has tons of themes. Yeah. And it's also not fantasy. It's written as a faux mythology that Tolkien felt, England was robbed of because they were. Yeah. And they lost a lot of their oral tradition and everything through, being conquered a lot. Maybe they shouldn't have been conquered so much, but that's the way it goes. And it didn't look very authentic. We had elves of color. We had hobbits of color.
And the irony of that, considering the original intent behind the Tolkien and everything like that, it
goes back to South Park.
Make it really gay does. And lame.
Yes. Put a chick in it and make it gay. Make it fucking lame.
And I want it lame. It's my favorite part. No, it's frustrating because I can't go down the rabbit hole on this. It would take too long to explain, but Tolkien accounted for other races in his world. Like, it's there. But they flipped them on its head so they can just have, we want to have, because, everybody now needs to see themselves in everything. Like I can't watch Buffy anymore because I've never been a teenage vampire slayer. So I can't identify with her, obviously. I can't watch Angel. I've never been a vampire. So we have to see ourselves and everything. It's like super narcissistic and it kills imagination. And they could have had any race they wanted into. They decided to flip it on its head. And on top of all that, you could, as a Tolkien fan, you could tell what they didn't have rights to. So they had they couldn't say hobbits.
What?
You can't say the word hobbits in there. You
gotta say Habba.
No.
You're gonna say Hobbit with hobbits. A hard T?
They couldn't use Gandalf, so they had Gandalf in it. But they didn't call him Gandalf. So that stranger,
he just the wizard? Oh,
he's called the Stranger because they don't have rights to the.
It's the Gray. What's up, Gray?
So
high five.
Warner Brothers still has the rights so instead of the hobbits, they're called the Harfoots, which is a breed of hobbit. But it's still a hobbit, but they're calling them the Harfoots, who are the worst people ever, by the way. They have a whole speech on how They travel. They migrate. You know, they're nomads.
They like
and if
illegals.
anybody,
They're like gypsies.
they're like gypsies, and if you fall behind, you're screwed. If you sprain your ankle, they're not going to stop for you. They're just going to leave you to die. It's really messed up and stupid. But they subverted everything possible in it. I'm surprised they didn't have a gay story. That'll probably be next season. I'm probably saving it for next season because Tolkien really down.
Yeah, dude, they gotta fucking eat some strawberries.
To be fair, he was Catholic.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the orc fucked the boy. Wow, that's really...
Wow, that was you were very descriptive up until that point.
Wow. Yeah. That was short in one sentence. Like, huh.
No,
His brother was a Catholic priest, so one of his. Yeah.
I love, like, if you guys have Salma, like, you've read Dune, Cody. You've read all the Dune series. Like, the world Tolkien built, especially Salmarilla. I did hate that Hobbit was 3 movies instead of 1, and then Lord of the Rings, which is a book apiece, and they made a 3 hours per movie, and you're like, hey, this makes sense. Hobbit, like, let's stretch this bitch out as much as possible.
It was money.
It was, if you read, Peter Jackson got fucked taking over that one. That is my favorite story. Is like, after everything, they paid him enough money to be like, okay, I'll do it. After 2 directors, I think at that point,
Guillermo del Toro got fired. Yeah, he said he left, but he got fired.
You didn't know this?
Del Toro was gonna fucking direct.
Yeah. He was.
He was very influential on the first one. You'll see a lot of his stuff in the first one.
Yeah,
that was
that's why when we had dope orcs, like the actual the white orc,
the pale orc,
the pale orc. Sorry, pale orc. The original costume design for that, there was no CG. It was an actual dude in a costume like the original 3, and it looked so goddamn.
Yeah, and they
gangster.
CG'd it. It was pretty terrible. Dude, after that.
Yeah, Del Toro, and I swear there was
that
one
frame
more.
rate they ran too. It was
48.
It was 48 frames per
Everything
second.
looks super choppy and weird.
It looked really weird.
Oh shit, that actually does look dope.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's rad.
Looks
G
so
Van
much
the
better.
gray one. It looked, and they have a full body too, like him standing, and it's gangster looking.
Looked way better.
God damn.
Oh well.
Okay, that's fucking rad.
I would have watched it then, but then when
it's just like the fucking. I'm sorry, like Hollywood does this all the fucking time. Like just with the reboot of The Thing or the prequel to The
I was about
Thing,
to bring that up.
where they did everything practical effects, just like the original movie, like the original 1980s Thing. They did like just the super, because that was like the pinnacle of practical effects. And they recorded the whole fucking movie with practical effects. They even had, I think it was like Tom Savini, like the real like OG dudes. And then the studio's like, nah, it looks too old school. Make everything CG. And so they CG'd over the practical effects.
and they still
in the
over
final
and,
cut.
and that's what fucking kills me. And they have side by sides, and you can see the practical, and it looks so much better. And they're like, it was that weird part of like 2010 to 20 where they're like, hey, we need more CG. No, it needs to look more video game. And you're like, no.
And
It looked cool as fuck, dude.
Yeah, and it's led to the crap CG we have now.